Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Dark Art Society podcast. I'm your host, Chet, and this week I speak to the one and only LC, Leonard Crosky. Now, LC is an artist. He is a DJ, but he also is the creator of the Cannibal Flower group show. I got my start at Cannibal Flower. It's probably the majority of my relationships in the art world came through the Cannibal Flower group shows or back in the day. I got connected with Gary and Erica at Copperal Gallery from the Cannibal Flower shows. And, that's their really important aspect of my art life. So, along with tons of friends and other artists, it's really kind of where I got my feet wet in the art world. And so we talk about that. We talk about LC, talk about, his background and stuff, but talk a lot about the Cannibal Flower days, which was a really special time. So anyway, that's coming up. Really great interview. I'm still in the same boat pretty much. Well, no, I'm working on my commissions. I don't know if they'll still be available. I'm doing $100 sketches at chetzar.bigcartel.com. Mystery monster sketches. So they should still be available by the time this airs. So I think I'm going to have it up for another week. So I've got a bunch of monster sketches I have to do now. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's mostly the commission stuff. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/darkartsociety and join for as little as $1. If you join at the $5 and above level, you get a 30% discount on a human head skull. Human Skull from Skull Shop, our sponsor, SKULLSHOPPE.com. They make the most amazing skulls in the world. You can't tell that they're not totally real. They look as real as any real skull I've ever seen, and I've seen a few. And let's see. Oh, please subscribe to the channel and share, get the word out. Yeah, I always forget to say that, so I'm saying it now. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, all that stuff. It really does help. And I guess that's it. I always feel like I'm forgetting something. Let me look at my little notes. No? That's it. Oh, if you want to, you can go to, if you want to see what's going on in my art life, you can go to patreon.com/chetzar and join also for as little as $1. And I post everything I'm working on there. I've got 2 Patreons, one for the Dark Art Society, one for my personal art. And yeah, that's it. Anyway, this is a great interview. Super fun talking to LC, and I think you're going to like it. So here we go. What's up, LC?
What is up?
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Of course.
It's a long time coming. I've been doing this thing for like 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just like when I started off with a partner and we just talked about weird stuff, and then he left, and then I was like, oh, I'm just going to interview artists and people in the art community, and I was worried that there wouldn't be enough. And here it is 6 years later. I haven't even interviewed everyone I've wanted to interview. There's so many people that I know in this field. So it's so cool to have you on, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I've mentioned this before on the podcast. You're kind of like the perfect type of guest because you're someone that I've known forever, but we've never actually discussed your background, or it's always like you see people at art shows and you know them, but you don't know their history really, or just for what you hear, but we haven't had in-depth conversations. And so I get the benefit of knowing you and feeling comfortable with you and asking about your history and stuff. And I'm so interested to learn how you became who you are.
Oh, wow. So I just start telling you the story.
Yeah, well, I'll tell in the introduction. I'll talk a little bit more about you, but you know, I got my start with you pretty much. It's like I may have shown in a coffee shop here or there when I first started doing artwork, but I consider Cannibal Flower, and I've mentioned this a million times on the podcast. Cannibal Flower was the place where I got my foot in the door and got my real official start in the art world. So I'm always
Awesome.
so grateful to you for giving me that opportunity. But you've given so many people that opportunity. Like so many great artists have come out of that Cannibal Flower scene. It's incredible.
Well, I just felt like, something was needed.
Yeah.
It was like there's so many artists in this city, and regardless if you're good or bad, you're doing art.
Right.
And in every artist, there's 1,000 bad paintings before you get good.
Totally.
So the thing is, I felt like if we just hang everybody's work and they see the people they're hanging with, the people that aren't so good are going to want to get better.
Totally,
And they,
man.
actually appreciate that someone is taking the time, and it gives them that energy to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Where the institutions were pretty much just playing gatekeeper,
Yep.
picking and choosing who they think will sell.
Yep.
And it's just like, you know what? I feel like every gallery, and I'm gonna say my gallery is a little guilty of this too, but I think every gallery in the whole town should have an annual locals only group show,
Yeah.
just to like show what's going on in our city and to give people chances. But I think a lot of times people always just worry about paying bills.
Yeah.
And with
Yeah.
Cannibal Flower, I just never worried about paying bills. I just like, you know what? I'm gonna open the door. I'm gonna show everybody's art who drop off,
Mm-hmm.
good or bad, and I will
Yep.
hang it appropriately.
Yep.
And I will charge at the door.
Yep.
That's where I make my money. I'll have an illegal bar and I'll make money. The first Cannibal Flower, I had not only did I have an illegal bar, but we also had a bong bar.
Really?
Yeah, so right next to the bar, you could get a drink, and then you just slide over, and there was a $5 hit bong bar.
Amazing.
Guy's just sitting there with a bowl of weed and a bong, and he just loads it up,
Oh
light it up
man,
for you, and you go back to the party.
that's great. Yeah, those are some of the Cannibal Flower days are some of the best times of my life. I feel like,
Oh, wow.
you know, particularly like my art life. It was
Yeah.
just like there was so much energy and excitement at these shows. I'm sure you remember. I mean,
Oh, God.
for me as an artist, it was like you know, you as well. It was like something. It felt like, you know, I'm sure the early days of hip hop or the early days of punk rock.
Yes.
It felt like something is happening. Something big is happening here, and that's really the only time I kind of got into punk. After I kind of got into punk when it was post punk, so I sort of missed that. And for me, it was that was this. I was like kind of the only big thing that ever happened in my life like that, like
Oh,
a
wow.
big underground grassroots art movement of any kind. It's like the only one really that I've been a part of, and it was so exciting. Every time driving out there, I had to drive all the way out from Monrovia, but it was like every just the drive there and the drive back was so much. It was just so great. So I really appreciate that you guys
Oh,
did that. It's
dude,
so
no
amazing.
problem. I mean, the secret agenda to Cannibal Flower was I was working at a gallery. Now, I'm not going to even mention the gallery's name because it's still one of my favorite places, but they did kind of like diss me in
Hmm.
the beginning of
Hmm.
Cannibal Flower. But at the same time, I respect this place so much and still is a fan and still go to the art shows, no matter how much it didn't support me as
Hmm.
an artist. And I just was working at this gallery and I just knew they would never show my art. Not even saying that I was good enough to show there.
Right.
I'm not saying like, oh, how come he's not showing my work? Just learning the politics of the gallery.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I'm working at a spot
The one even.
that I love
Yeah.
and I'm an artist and I don't think they're ever going to show my work.
Your stuff is your personal your artwork is awesome. Your collage stuff is really good. I mean,
Well,
I
yeah.
think it's really amazing. I love the
Oh,
colors
thank
and the.
you.
It's
Thank
not too
you.
cluttered. It's very well composed. Every time I look at one of your pieces, it makes me feel comfortable and good. Like this is right. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
thank you. Yeah, like collage for me has always been more of a therapeutic thing for
Mm-hmm.
me. It was like in the early days, I used to do graffiti, and I was a fashion designer for like 2 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I quit fashion design and I stopped doing graffiti, and I just didn't really have any other outlet. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't spray painting, I wasn't cutting, I wasn't designing. And when I moved out, I didn't really have money for like art supplies. So collage was like, oh, I can grab some magazines and get some scissors. Like all my first pieces was just on pieces of construction paper and
Mm-hmm.
glue stick. And then as I started doing the Cannibal Flower shows, like hanging with artists like yourself, I was like, I want to feel good about my work on the wall with all these other people that I respect. Like I need to learn their techniques to elevate my style.
Mm.
So just even being in a room with you guys and just seeing how you presented your work, and I didn't know nothing about varnishes or
Right.
mounting the wood or anything.
But that was
So
true with all. I think that was true with every artist showing there because we were all kind of like starting out, and so part
yeah,
of the reason you're going is you're learning from other artists and seeing, like you're saying,
exactly.
it forces you to kind of like in a good healthy way to kind of up your game and wanna stay relevant and be as good as the next guy and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was all about community. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's what I'm saying. It's like getting artists out of their studios,
Yeah.
out with other artists, chatting, talking about their work, and learning different things. And at the same time, it's like, you know where art shows are, and you're making these art
Yeah.
friends, and you have these cliques. And I just feel like it's just really hard for an artist if you're just doing it by yourself and hoping
Yep.
and hoping some dude, some gatekeeper in a magical limousine is going to pull up and go, "You're the next
Yeah.
art star."
Right.
The thing is, that's up for the audience to judge.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to put it on the wall and let people decide,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at the same time, some of the stuff that you like, other people hate,
Yep.
and vice versa. So it's like art is subjective. It doesn't,
Yep.
just hang it.
Yep.
I've sold pieces that, some people thought wasn't good at all, but was priced right at $200, and that piece found its collector.
Absolutely.
So my thing is like, just hang the work. Artists just make the work, find somewhere to hang it, and let the audience judge. And you just find your courage from there to learn how to be out there
Mm-hmm.
because it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. So you started this Cannibal Flower because you felt like the place you were working at wasn't showing your work, and so was it? How did it come about?
Well, um, I'm at this gallery and I was actually seeing the people that this gallery was rejecting. And
Oh
they
yeah, I
were,
remember hearing you say this.
yeah, and they were amazing. As far as my standards, I'm like, I don't know what the hell you motherfuckers are looking for, but these dudes that you're turning down are awesome. And I
Yeah.
just remember telling like, well, dude, I think I'm gonna try to do my own thing. If you have a card or anything that I can contact you, I'll hit you up when I do my thing because I want to do something underground. I'm not going to sit around and wait for these motherfuckers to show my work. And that's, and I come from a hip hop background. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
get it done. So my
Mm-hmm.
thing is like, if I wait for you guys to show my work, then it might not get shown. So I'm
Right.
going to find a place
Yep.
and I'm going to hang my own damn work and all of my friends' work and anybody who want to hang work.
Yeah.
And what was cool was a friend of mine, and he was very instrumental in like Cannibal Flower helping me out. His name was Karan Shahani.
Hmm.
And he would always find these little places to rehearse. He was in a band called Supreme Beings of Leisure.
Mm.
So he had this like rehearsal studio down by MacArthur Park, just super cracked out park, and just not a good area for art.
Yeah.
So his thing was like, hey dude, I got this thing, help me pay rent if you want to do some art shows here, and help me pay rent. I'm like, you know what? Yes. And he pretty much helped put the space together so it could show some art. Dude, the first Cannibal Flower, I reached out to like maybe 40 strangers,
Hmm.
artists that, I didn't know, but I had their card from over the years of seeing them getting rejected. And I just reached out to them, and 60 people dropped off for the first Cannibal Flower.
Wow.
And like maybe 150 people showed up. And
Wow.
it's down at some little hole in the wall by MacArthur Park. And we sold work.
Wow.
It was like 3 or 4 pieces sold. I was like, oh, wow. And I think one of them was my own. So I was like, what? This might work out for me.
That was
But at the
the
same
universe
time,
telling you you're doing the
oh, the
right
universe
thing.
is telling me, like, you know what? You could do it.
Yeah.
So, but the one thing that I noticed was that all the artists and all the patrons were having a good time. And it wasn't just me trying to sell art, but we were celebrating our efforts,
Totally, man.
hanging it on the wall and letting people see it and talk about it and actually letting these other people know you're an artist. Because
Hmm.
that's one of the first questions, like, are you an artist? Do you got art in the show?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, my piece is over here,
Hmm.
or it's over there by the such and such. You would
Hmm.
just kind of like, and people would get to know you that way, very organically. That was also before social media.
Yeah.
Like one of the stories I used to tell, like at this gallery, I would go in early before we opened, even though I had keys, but I needed some time to myself. And before LA Weekly went out of business,
Hmm.
they would drop off these big, big stacks of LA Weeklies at the front of this gallery.
Yep.
I would sit on a step and I would take all of the LA Weeklies off of the rack, and I would put my flyer in every one and put it back on the rack
That's
to
cool.
make it,
That's
yeah, just
great,
to
man.
make, yeah, just to make it look like LA Weekly supported what I was doing.
That's so smart. That's great.
So anytime the new stack came out, I was out there early, and it'll be like maybe a good 50, 100 copies. And I would just load up every one. And when I was on the register, I would put my flyer in every bag.
Wow.
Yeah, because it was an art gallery gift shop. So
Yeah, yeah.
lots of people are coming through. So when I would put in, our flyers from the gallery, I just throw in my underground paper punk rock ass flyer.
That's so cool. Sounds like
And
you were
people would,
really inspired to promote
yeah,
it and to
because,
keep growing it or just to
well, you
keep it
got to
going
think,
on.
maybe it was, I was inspired because it was working for me.
Hmm.
Like, oh, wow, I did an art show. I charged to get in. I made some money. I sold a piece. I sold some friends' pieces. And it seemed like people want something art and underground, and people need a place to show their work.
Yep.
There was just so many different things that made me feel like not only is it working, I think this is like necessary.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
Definitely.
like, wow, and it's like, and after a while, I would just send out an email and just go, hey, drop off your work between 12 and 2. I'll be hanging on artwork at 2, uncurated. I don't know what
Yep.
anyone is dropping off. And from 12 to 2, sometimes it'd be like 100 artists,
Yeah.
110 artists dropping off work from our LA area.
Yeah, amazing.
And then I would get it on the wall in 4 hours, open the door at 7.
Yep. And you better and be there on Sunday to pick it up or it's going in that storage unit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That
I
was the
ended up,
deal though, man. It was like it was low budget, it's underground. If you're not there to pick it up, then you'll have to deal with getting it some other way, but I'm here on Sunday to get it all day.
yeah, for sure. And I ended up with a couple of great pieces because people just left it. And I was just like, okay, I'm gonna take it to my house. Like
Hmm.
it's funny because Matthew Bone left a piece with me for about 10 years.
Wow.
And what was funny was it was the centerpiece for the very first gallery show that I curated. Like Copro gave me my first curated show.
Wow.
Greg asked me if I wanted to curate a show at Copro
Mm.
because Cannibal Flower was doing so well and artists was selling.
Yeah.
I think Luke Chu was starting to blow up. And they were
Yep.
just like, do your same thing. Curate a group show here, have a featured artist. And Luke Chu was the featured artist. And he showed up late. I think he showed up like an hour before the doors opened and started hanging artwork.
Wow.
That's how like underground and how artists was just not prepared
Yep.
for what was going on. But Matthew Bone left a piece with me for about 10 years. And after about 3 years of it just sitting in my house, I was like, why is it just sitting around? I'm gonna hang this on my wall. Hung it up on the wall. I seen him 10 years later. He said, oh, you still got that piece. I'm like, that piece is mine. Like, are you kidding me now? That thing has been a part of my life for like 10 years. You
Yep.
didn't come back and get it
Statute of
then.
limitations.
Yeah, like, nah, dude, that piece got a good home. You didn't care about it before.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep this. Unless you want me to charge you some sort of storage fee.
That's
And he
awesome.
was just super cool. And he knew that, it had a good home. But at the same time, I also believe that's just the universe gifting me this piece because when I see this piece, and it's still hanging in my house
Wow.
to this day,
Mm.
when I look at this piece, it's always a reminder of how Copro and Greg and Gary just gave me a shot. I'm just some like underground hip hop
Hmm.
dude that's just trying to do something, and they seen something in me and let me curate in their space. In that show, so many big artists was in that first show that's big now and doing good things.
Oh yeah.
And I just feel like, just the reward of that was enough. It wasn't even like, I made a lot of money or
Right.
anything from the show. It was just like, wow, this is a reason to like keep going and keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. I mean, I really can't stress enough. I know I'm going on about it, but I really feel like there were some galleries, like you said, there were galleries. There was a few galleries in LA that were showing cool stuff, but there wasn't a scene. There wasn't a
Exactly.
scene until you came and started Cannibal Flower. And that just I'm telling you, it's like this, but for people who don't know it, galleries came out of that. Artists came out of that. So many successful artists. I could go on naming, like you mentioned Luke Chu. There's so many artists that are just like killing it now that came out of the Cannibal Flower scene and galleries. Like Nathan started the Hive from, remember, and he was sleeping in the, wasn't he sleeping in the,
He was sleeping in the garage port of that one of the spaces. I think it was hangar.
oh yeah, hanger. Yeah, the
The
hanger.
hangar. He was sleeping in that
The
space.
rats running around and shit.
Oh, dude. Nathan's hardcore. I love him too. But he went on to do the same thing.
Yep.
And I love Nathan for that. It's like he has a featured artist. He have a major group show. He's hanging artists. He's giving it
Yep.
that break. And I hoped that there was going to be more,
Yeah. Yeah.
like more spaces doing that.
Yeah.
I feel like if I ever like opened up another space, it would only be a group show space.
Right.
It would only be group shows. And, you know, I like being able to do like what I want. It would be artists like I've already picked out artists for the show, but someone to hit me up the day of like, oh, I would love to put a piece in.
Yeah.
Well, if
Yeah.
you could drop it off in an hour,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hang it on the wall.
Yeah.
Just something that's just like less political and more celebration,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
Community
think that's what we
oriented.
really, all of us really enjoyed. It's like you walk into this room and just the walls are filled with
Yeah.
possibilities and ideas. And even though you had a piece in the show, you still had no idea what this show looked like.
Right.
I didn't know what it looked like until I got there.
Yeah. Right.
I get to the space and just start laying out art and go, oh, wow, this guy's really good.
Yeah.
And I also had a system. I had a system that the artists that I thought galleries should pay attention to, they tend to be more upfront.
Mm.
because I was also treating art as an entertainment. So I wanted when people paid, as soon as they walk in, they get punched in the eye with some really good art.
Yeah, yeah, that makes total sense.
And then if you weren't so good, you was in the back.
Mm-hmm.
But and I never did any favors.
Hmm.
So however your art looked, that's just how it was hung. And I just make sure, and I'm hoping you could testify to this, but when I hung art, I always make sure that when the artists show up to look at their piece, they could look left or right of
Mm-hmm.
their work and see that they were in good company.
Right. Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. You definitely had an eye for hanging.
Oh, thank you. But it was
Placement
also
and
in
stuff.
respect to just the artist.
Right, right, right.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, if your piece is hanging there, I want you to look to the left and go, damn, who's this
Yeah,
dude?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So like the people that weren't so good was in the back, but I also started watching artists slowly get better and move their way out of the
Mm-hmm.
back to the front, and then they'll come over and go, "Oh my God, I'm hanging next to Chet. Oh shit." I'm like, well, I didn't do you any favor.
Right.
The work hangs itself. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
work has gotten so much better that you can hang next to an artist of this caliber. And I was starstruck when you started showing with us, because I think
Uh,
at the time you was doing like band stuff.
yeah, I was working with Tool and stuff, I
Yeah.
think, and working in the film industry and stuff. But still, it was like, it's funny because I found out about Cannibal Flower from this guy I worked with at Rick Baker's shop when I was doing effects. And
Hmm.
he was this guy, Kevin Wasner. I had him on the podcast recently and we talked about this. And he's like, yeah, man, there's this really cool, like this art party thing called Cannibal Flower. Cause I was just starting to paint. Like I was working in effects and then on my lunch break, I'd have my little table easel and I'd be teaching myself how to paint in oils. And I was like, I got to make this work. I was like really dedicated to it. And he kept telling me about it. And the way he described it, I was like, it sounded like it was just at someone's house or something.
Oh,
And I was
funny.
like, yeah, I don't know about that. And then I don't remember what made me apply, but I finally got in. And then I was like, oh my God, now I know what you were telling me. He was always telling me, dude, you got to show it Cannibal Flower. And it's like, he's the first guy that told me about it. And then Cannibal Flower was like the place that launched my career. That's where Gary found me,
Yeah.
and all kinds of people.
I
So,
remember you was doing like large work.
mm-hmm.
And I remember I gave you the advice to do like small portraits.
Yep.
And Gary came in and bought like 3 or 4 of them,
Yeah.
like right off the top. Like,
That's when I had that moment when first time where like my stuff sold immediately. It was those oval small
yes.
portraits, and it was like then people were coming in and asking to buy them the next time, and it was the first time ever like I'd done something that was like people really wanted it, and so it was like whoa, this is crazy.
Well, it's also about like being accessible.
Yeah,
And
and
that's what the information I wanted to pass
yeah,
on to like artists is like, stop worrying about rich people buying your work.
yeah,
There's so many art lovers out there and people that you don't know that with those small pieces, you're also training people how to be collectors.
totally, man.
The very first piece I bought was a Jeff Gillette piece,
Hmm.
and it was $25 from Dirt Gallery.
Whoa,
And it
that's
was just like
crazy.
it was, yeah, and it was just like a little collage because he did these little collages,
Hmm.
and he just had like a cardboard box full of $25 collages.
Wow.
So I just bought two, and it was the first pieces I bought. And then later on, I got a piece from him for 2,500.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like it starts
absolutely.
with 25, then the next piece, oh, 50. Then the next piece, you don't
Yeah,
mind spending 100.
yeah.
Now you don't mind spending
Hey,
500.
you told me that was one of the great pieces of advice you gave me as well, which was keep the prices low. It's like at this point in your career, it's more important to sell to show that your work is selling and make it accessible at a lower price point, and then you can raise, the story. You can always go up, but you can never go down.
Yeah.
And I had my stuff priced low, and I was like stoked just to sell the stuff at that point, and if you strike that balance of like something that's good and affordable, it's gonna go. right away,
Yeah,
you
but you're
know?
also turning on those new
Yeah,
collectors.
yeah,
I mean, and you're
absolutely.
still doing it today. I think we just bought a piece from you for
Right.
$500.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you still make accessible work. And every person that has bought one of those $500 paintings is thrilled. It
Yeah.
still comes from the legacy of you
Yeah, and they're
and your big works and the collections you're in. Someone has a little small part
yeah,
of you.
yeah. And they're, a lot of people tell me that especially cuz I do, such weird niche kind of work, but that's the first they're like, how do I buy this? I've never bought a piece of art before. What's the process? And
Exactly.
then it's like you're okay, once you buy it, you're a collector now. You own one piece of
Yeah.
artwork, you're a collector now.
Yes.
And
That's
that's
how it starts.
yep. And that's, it brings so much joy to people, and that's what as artists we need, and collectors are so important to us
Yes.
surviving.
But we got to also remember that we're also training people how to be collectors.
Right.
People just think like,
Yep.
well, I just want people to buy my work. Said, well, you also want to help create collectors that's going to buy work.
Yeah.
So be accessible. And if you don't have a gallery history, if you don't have 5 or 6 galleries showing your work, and this is the first time you show your work, it should be priced low enough for someone to buy. I remember Luke Chu, when he started at Cannibal Flower, he was my assistant for a while, and me and
That's
Luke just
right.
used to have these really intense art conversations. And I would tell him little things I would learn, and he would test it. But we'll get to that. But what happened was I would only show one piece per artist
Mhm.
at Cannibal Flower. And because Luke was my assistant, he had 2 pieces. And I said, you know what? Let's just show both of them. And
Mhm.
he was like, well, what should I price them at? And I said, well, like 250. He's like, no one's going to buy it at 250. I'm like, well, let's just start there. And this woman from New York came to the Cannibal Flower and she couldn't decide between the two. And it was priced so low, she bought both of them.
Wow, that's amazing.
And he was like, what? What? And I'm just like, dude, everything has a good price. Just like when you walk into a store and you see a jacket and this jacket is amazing, and you think like, oh, I'm gonna end up this jacket must cost $200 or $300.
Yep.
But then you look at the price tag and it's on sale for 75, no brainer.
Yep.
You're walking to the cash register.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it ends up being your favorite jacket.
Yep.
Not because it was expensive, but because it was amazing and they could afford it.
Yep. Yep.
So we got to always remember, like, even in the business of selling art, we're still selling a thing.
Right.
It
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
plug in, it don't feed you.
Yep.
It's a luxury.
Yeah, totally.
So my thing is like, think about the pieces that people have bought from you early in your career and where you're at now. They
Yeah.
are the lucky ones.
Yeah.
And they are also the ones that helped kicked it off for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I was just saying this the other day, and someone's a comment on someone's feed talking about art sales, and he had mentioned the how we as artists we raise our prices every year 10% or whatever, and I'd mentioned like you should explain why prices are raised. It's like not only because so our work gains value and we get paid a little bit more, but also for the collectors who were there in the beginning. Because when you raise your prices, their value goes up. Like their piece is worth more, and so you're kind of
Exactly.
rewarding your earliest supporters also.
Oh yeah,
You know.
for sure. It makes that early collector proud
Yep.
that they discovered you early.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have so much art in my house and like first time pieces, like artists that now are selling for like $30,000,
Wow.
but I spent 600.
That's amazing.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and my works aren't for sale. I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
buying them to like put in an auction or whatever. This is just like how I surround myself to stay inspired.
Mm-hmm.
you know, just my love of art is like this is my environment. Like I don't have decor. I
Right.
don't have like stupid things you get from, Kmart or Target to hang on your walls. Like everything in my house is art.
Yeah, and it's
And it's
real.
made by an artist who put their heart and soul
Yeah,
into it.
yeah.
And you can feel that love
Mm-hmm.
in the room.
Yeah, it's an energy thing, man. You can feel it. You really can feel it. It's like a physical presence, I
Oh
believe.
yeah, because like I'll invite people over for meetings and they'll just start looking around. I go, you know what? Why don't you go on and take about 20 minutes?
Get it
Because
out of
they
your system.
overwhelmed. Take 20 minutes, look around, and they start taking pictures, and then we can sit down and meet. But the whole time, they're just kind of like, oh, wow, like you really are an art collector. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I support my friends. You know, it's like I already own a piece from you. But then Valentine said, like, you got these little $500
Yeah.
pieces coming out. She said, oh, we got to get one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like I try to own at least one piece from all the artists that I like and can afford.
Mm-hmm.
And me and her buy art together.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I'm always going to be a collector. And I hope, artists realize that, it's not just about you making money, but it's also helping people become collectors.
Definitely. Definitely. I stress that all the time. As any artist that's not completely full of shit knows that without collectors we wouldn't be able to do this. So it's like, I value collectors and supporters as extremely important piece of having some kind of career, any kind of art career, and
Yeah.
when you love to create, when you love to make your art, these people who are collecting, these are the people that are like allowing you to do the thing you love the most. So it's like
Exactly.
I've always been treated my collectors like gold because I'm so grateful for that support. Um, I want to know, like, what was your your childhood? How did you get here? What were you like as a kid?
Oh, wow. So
You from Pasadena?
I'm from Pasadena and Altadena. I
Yeah.
grew up in a Crip neighborhood where,
No way.
my crew sold guns and crack.
Whoa.
And I was just, Pasadena was just like a bad spot for me. I was producing rap music.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was around when, because you got to think, rap music, new wave, and punk all started at the same time.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I was listening to K Day and I was listening to K Rock.
Yeah.
I was listening to, Sugar Hill Gang, and I was also listening to Fear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it was just all these subcultures just starting to happen all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And as a DJ, I'm so glad that I was raised in that time where all these subcultures was happening, and I respected all the subcultures
Mm-hmm.
because I was part of a subculture.
All right.
But when my hip hop friends came over, I had to turn off the K Rock and put back on the K Day. But then usually when I'm playing video games, I would have on K Rock,
Yeah.
so, and just, it was just, I was like, producing a lot of hip hop music at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really time for me to get out of the neighborhood. I was like, I was producing rap music and I worked on a few projects, really big projects. We're not going to get into all that stuff, but I just I got over the hip hop part of it.
Hmm.
Just working with rappers and it was hard to get paid in this music industry. You
Hmm.
could do a project today and not get paid for it for like 6 months,
Right.
8 months. And just like I just kind of got over it. So I produced an opera.
No way.
Yeah, an opera. I started an opera group called Illogical SRL,
Wow.
and I just started doing hip hop beats for an opera
That's
singer.
crazy, man. Was that like the
But I had
first one ever?
Well, the first opera project I did was
No, I
it
mean the
was
first hip hop opera. Was there a hip hop opera project before that?
no,
So
no,
you
I did
probably did the
almost
first hip hop project
probably.
ever, and it's like
Yeah, if you
look
go
at
on,
Hamilton now. It's
yeah,
like you're
yeah,
so
if you
ahead
go
of the
on like
curve.
Spotify and look up like a logical SRL,
Okay.
it's like my whole hip hop project is on there. And I always did music as an art project.
Hmm.
So that was like my second opera uh project. The first one I performed at the very first Cannibal Flower, and me and a buddy named Jean Paul, we started Cannibal Flower together.
Hmm.
And I love Jean Paul for the mere fact that every time I thought it was impossible, because I was hip hop and he was straight punk.
Right.
So every time I thought it wasn't possible, he'd be like, fuck that, we could do this.
Yeah. That's
And we
another
would
thing
do it.
that was so cool about the Cannibal Flower shows is it was totally mixed racially and punk and hip hop and everything. And there was just, it was like everyone was there together with the artwork. And it didn't matter what scene you came from or what
No.
group you're from. It's like you are part of this group now that doesn't give a shit about any of that stuff. You
Yeah,
know
and
what I
that's how they
mean?
used to do it back in New York and Soho.
Mm-hmm.
Just have these crazy art parties, and it was just these diverse art parties.
Right, right.
There's, black, Puerto Ricans, there's trans, there's
Yep.
gay,
Yep.
there's just everybody.
Yeah.
There was no like particular person.
Everyone was
And
welcome.
so I definitely modeled the Cannibal Flower after those Soho parties. And also the very first movie I saw was Xanadu.
Hmm.
And I don't know if anyone ever seen Xanadu, but when you went into Xanadu, everything was happening.
I never saw
You
Xanadu.
never,
I
oh my
remember
God.
it. I just never saw it.
Oh, dude. I mean, it went into this magical skate world, and there was ninjas, there was trapeze artists, everybody's on skates. Just it was a magical world of everything.
Right.
So between Xanadu and the gallery that I worked with, I knew I wanted to do an event that just did everything.
Hmm.
It couldn't just be an art show. I booked a band, so a
Right.
band would perform.
Yep.
And also the bands was getting attention,
Yep. Yeah.
in front of real art crowds.
Yep.
And I would book a performance. Like, do you remember like some of the piercing
Oh
performances?
yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Like
Yeah.
it was all
You were ahead of the curve on that stuff too, man.
well, it was just all these people that needed a place to like figure out their shit.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's almost like a big workshop. Like some of the performers that, I've seen are like famous now. I
Right.
remember this girl, she did a booth at Cannibal Flower, and when you walked, she didn't say anything, and she had this little tutu on. But when you walk into the booth, the whole wall is covered, like all four walls is covered with pink paper that has little abstract paintings on it.
Hmm.
So when you walk in to the booth, you wonder why you're there. And then she just kind of gestures like, can I help you?
Hmm.
And you were like, yeah. And then she would paint her vagina lips and sit down on a piece of paper and then give you this vagina abstract paint.
No way.
And then you realize what you're
Yeah.
holding
Right.
wallpapered the whole thing with vagina paintings.
Right.
And I remember her telling me that when she first got started, um, her vagina would go numb because she wasn't using the right paint.
Uh,
So that was her workshopping. How am I going to do this performance? And the last time I seen her, she was in a French magazine
wow.
being interviewed for doing these like vagina rooms.
Right.
But it took her being at Cannibal Flower to figure out just what kind of paint won't numb her vagina.
So you can take credit for that, among other
Oh,
things.
sure, why not? But that's what I'm saying. It's like it was a place for everybody to workshop.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Bands, fashion designers.
Totally, man. I remember when also it's so funny because when I first started showing, I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I'll always remember it, is I didn't care about frame. I always thought people are going to reframe the painting. It doesn't matter. Like they're going to reframe it to match their house. That is so not true. People
No,
want a piece that looks cool and they can hang it. They don't want to reframe it. And it's like, I was so
no.
dumb. I didn't know. And I remember I was like, oh, I brought these crappy frames in and they look like shit. They were like cheap plexi with like the backing, the show, and it was like they looked terrible. And you're like, man, you got to get better frames. You were like, you got to put better frames on those. And I remember I was like, what? People, and it was like that was the beginning of now I like sculpt my own frames. You know what I mean? It's like that became part of how I sell the artwork. And it's like it made me realize it's like framing is really important. If you have frames, it's important to have a good frame on a piece.
Just at least a good presentation.
Yeah,
Like we got to
exactly.
also,
It's all about presentation.
but we got to also remember that, we're selling a luxury.
Right. Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
feed or do anything except just like visually please
Yeah.
us. It's like selling a diamond
Yeah.
or
Right.
a gold. It's like
You're not going to put a
it's
diamond
a
in a crappy
luxury.
ass box or
No,
whatever,
you're not. You're not. So that's the thing is like we got to always remember that, selling art is a luxury and you should give the best presentation you can
Yeah.
and always give a little piece of yourself. Like people should be buying authentically you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, it's just one of the many, things I appreciate that you did for me, telling me that back then, and it's like, I didn't know what I was doing. It's like I just wanted to paint. I didn't know about any of this shit. I didn't know about anything about it. It was like, so you know, all the advice I got was so valuable, and I've use it to this day. All these, you and Gary
Uh,
advised me very well, so I appreciate it.
well, the thing is, like, I was also learning stuff by working at a gallery.
Oh, I bet, yeah,
I was
yeah,
learning all
right,
this information that was like, I don't know, I won't say guarded as secret, but the gallerist didn't really have to share it with you.
right,
They didn't have to tell you how they did stuff.
yeah, yeah,
They ain't got time to explain to you like why they pick artists
right,
or anything. So a lot of times artists would walk in, to their favorite galleries. They think their work is good enough to show in these galleries, but these galleries won't show their work and they get upset.
hmm,
And like the advice I would pass on to them is just like, don't worry about those galleries. You need to keep searching out this world until you find a gallery that works for you.
yeah,
Because there's no rules to this.
yep,
It's the Wild West. It's just whatever that gallery want to do.
absolutely,
So it's like, I had a friend that was complaining like, oh, I wasn't selling any art in LA. And I was like, well, did you try to search out any other galleries? I mean, at ThinkSpace, we sell art to people in Thailand.
right,
They found the work in LA.
yep,
And so the thing is like, you really have to get out there and you have to be vulnerable and you have to put yourself out there.
mm-hmm,
And that's the only way that you're going to see like any success as an artist. You have to work it like a regular job.
yeah, definitely.
You have to go out there and, shake hands, rub elbows, go to
Totally,
art
man. It was
shows.
so painful for me. I was so shy back then. And it was painful for me to go to an art show where I didn't know anybody because like I couldn't always get a friend to go with me. So I was like, well, I got to go by myself. Even though I was
Yeah,
so shy, I just fucking made myself do it though.
you had
Yeah,
to.
you had to. I was like, if I'm going to make this work, I got to do what I got to do. I can't leave any stone unturned. So I would just like make myself go to these shows, every show I could go to, and you end up like making friends with people there, even if you're like some shy, uncomfortable weirdo like I was. It's like you ended up making friends with all kinds of people, and then you end up getting over your shyness too, which is great.
Yeah.
Because so many artists are kind of like that. I think. So what were you like as a little kid?
Oh, wow.
I'm so curious.
Well, I was raised as a only child.
Hmm.
And I lived with my mom, my grandmother, my grandfather, so I was pretty spoiled. I had everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up pretty swell. I can't, complain at all. Like my mom always said, I was rich and she was poor
Uh-huh.
because I had everything, and just being in a house with three adults that love me,
Hmm.
I just had everything. I even had a pony.
Really?
Yeah, I had a pony.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
they bought me a little
amazing.
cowboy suit and got me a pony. So yeah, I mean, I really had everything.
That's so
So,
cool.
God bless my mom and the people that, loved me and took care of me. It also, they instilled into me just like confidence. They just let me know you're the shit.
Yeah.
You're the shit, dude. You could do anything. You could do whatever you want, and I support it.
Yeah. How
And
could you, but you didn't wind up as a arrogant.
I
You're
was.
confident. I mean, you've always been just awesome to me. You're just like a confident dude.
Well, I mean, I did have my teen years was arrogant
Yeah, I guess
because I was
everybody
a
goes
hip
through that.
hopper.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in the hood. I had like 8 girlfriends. So my confidence and arrogance was there for a second because there's no way you could be hip hop and not be like, I'm better than you
Yeah, that's part of the whole thing.
and prove yourself
Yeah.
that you're better than them.
Right.
So there was like a really, arrogant time, but I realized that I wasn't being a human being.
Yeah. Right.
Like I was only built for the hood, not like the real world. I
Right.
remember I needed to just move out of the hood, and I moved from out of the hood to North Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
Just completely. I just abandoned all my friends. I didn't say goodbye to anyone.
Whoa.
My friend just packed up all my shit in the back of his El Camino and just drove me out to North Hollywood where a friend was giving me an apartment, not apartment, but a room for $350 a month.
How old were you in this at this time?
I was in the hood till I was about 25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, staying with my mom.
Hmm.
And I think one of the other reasons too I needed to leave, I was trying to date one of my mom's friends.
Hmm.
And I tried to get her to climb through my window at my mom's house. And she was like, you need to grow the fuck up. I'm not going to be sneaking into your mom's house through a window. I used to keep this crate under my window so I could sneak girls in. And she just kind of gave me this grown up ass speech like, you live with your mom
Yeah.
and you trying to sneak grown ass women through your window on a crate. You need to grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
And that was like definitely one of like the wake up calls that I wasn't like being a human being.
Right.
I was just like, this gangster kid, hip hop kid in the hood and just making my own rules and just kind of living in this arrogance.
Hmm.
And it really took me moving out and getting a job.
Yeah. Right. To humble you.
Yeah, I was working on this because of the opera project, someone asked me to work on a film score.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The opera project changed everything.
Hmm.
It even got me the job at this gallery.
Bro. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So pretty much I used to go around to the galleries and I would promote the opera project at the galleries
Hmm.
because I feel like these are the people I want to come see my show. And I would always ask for a job. I was doing a show at Spaceland,
Hmm.
and Jean Paul was the manager at the gallery that really wanted to work at. And when I stepped off stage, he just shook my hand and go, "Do you still need a job?"
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Have you ever managed a building, managed a place before?" And I was like, "No." He said, "I'm gonna teach you because we got
Wow.
to hang out together. Like
Amazing.
I need to know who you are and like you're doing hip hop opera." And I
Yeah.
was just like, "Oh, wow, yeah." And then me and him went on to start a fetish opera band called Mind Clinic.
Hmm.
So we had met this like high soprano submissive. So she would get beat on stage by a dominatrix for the first song while we played the instrumental. Then, the dominatrix would take the gag ball out of her mouth and then she would sing these beautiful operas.
Wow. What a trip.
And this was, again, a place where it's like, oh, workshop,
Yeah, yeah.
just workshopping. But anyway, the opera thing just kind of changed everything for me. Just, kind of like that birds of a feather sort of thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, it just started attracting other art people and other professionals. And I started seeing like really important people at my shows.
Mm.
So for me, the opera thing, and I always, prayed to the universe. I was like, I want to live my life paying my bills with art and music. If
Yeah.
there's some way I could do that,
Right.
if I could work at a gallery, if I could be around other creatives, I think I can get my thing done. And that opera project got me a job at a gallery that I know wouldn't show my work, which made me start Cannibal Flower to show my own work, which
Mm-hmm.
later on led into me meeting my partners and starting Think Space projects.
Right. And so this is like the art, you created a piece of artwork, which I am assuming was very close to your heart and you were into it and you did the best job you could. And it was awesome, this opera. And it's like, this art, this piece of art kind of became the foundation that got you into the whole art world,
Yeah,
you
because
know?
that was me changing my life,
Wow.
because
Mm-hmm.
before that, I was just like really, I had gotten like really sad, and I won't say suicidal, but I was kind of like over it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Portishead came out,
Mm.
and Portishead changed everything for me.
Yeah.
Like just listening to this music, and it was like this heartfelt music on top of hip hop beats mixed with
Yeah.
a little bit of rock.
It was amazing.
That was like everything to me. Like, because
Mm-hmm.
I like K Rock, I like K Day. Then all of a sudden, you got these beautiful vocals, hip hop beats, and rock music.
Yeah.
And from there, I'm like, I'm doing an opera.
That's
Just a
so
kid
cool.
from the hood, like, I'm doing an opera.
You
And my
must have
buddy True just pretty much helped me make that vision happen.
you must have been a creative little kid.
Yeah, I used to do graffiti,
I mean, it sounds
and
like everything you're telling me is the work of a creative artist. It's someone who's you've created a lot of things, and it's like people messing around don't do that. It's like the people that do that are artists, are creatives. They're people that kind of have this innate feeling that they have to create.
yeah, more, I mean, like, more than an artist, I do believe I'm more of a creative. Just
Mm-hmm.
I have these ideas and I want to execute them, whether it be like music or art or whatever the
A
case may
gallery,
be. But yeah,
you
but
know.
for me, it's always been about finding my sanity,
Mm-hmm.
because I just came from a place where it was just like it was chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
They used to shoot in my neighborhood. People, it was just
Yeah, it must have been
different.
scary.
Yeah. It was even scary just leaving my mom there, knowing that, the hood was
Right.
hot.
Yeah.
But it was like, if I don't make these changes, I'm never going to be the creative that I want to be. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, universe, please. I just want to pay my bills with art and music.
Yeah.
And then my DJ career started picking up. I started DJing all over the
Mm-hmm.
place. I started selling art.
Yep.
Also, I learned how to sell my art by working at this gallery. Like I knew to sell low. you
Mm-hmm.
know I would make these little $75 pieces, but I would sell 8 of them.
I give that advice to new artists all the time from you. It's like I always tell them it's like just start low, and you can always go up.
Yeah, it'll grow,
Yeah. Yep.
but at the same time, you're not stacking any art in your studio.
Yep.
And the thing is, when people buy your art and they hang it on the wall, it usually hangs there forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like your key to immortality is to get your art onto collectors' walls. And I don't
Hmm.
mean just rich collectors and people trying to build up this art portfolio
Right.
like a stock, but becoming part of people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the real meaning.
That's the real meaning.
I don't, I don't think I even have any collectors like that have like a portfolio, that kind of blue chip level. It's like
Yeah,
99% of my collectors say, I'm never going to sell this stuff. I want
never.
it. I love it. And I think that especially because this is kind of like, I don't know, it's not underground anymore, but this whole scene in LA, um, it's real. There's not anyone in this scene that's like, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money. It's like the people that are making art because they have to and they love it and they want to,
Yeah,
and it's a means to an end to sell the work and stuff, just so they can keep creating artwork. So it's
yeah,
like it's real. It's the LA scene as far as I'm concerned, and it's like the biggest art scene in the world, I think, in LA, at least for this kind of underground kind of work.
yeah,
I don't think there's any. It's bigger than New York now.
yeah,
New
for
York
sure.
used to be the place, and it's like LA's the place now.
Yeah. And the thing is, regardless if you sell work or not, you're going to keep creating work.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we really need more spaces that celebrate the artist's creativity,
Yep.
which is why we're starting to do Cannibal Flower again.
Yeah. I was so excited. That's why I was like, oh, I got to have LC on to talk about this. What's the deal with this?
Well, we're going to try to do like, two or three of them a year, and it's going to be focused only on local artists,
Cool.
not artists that, need to ship something in.
Right, right.
And I'm trying to do it a little bit more curated.
Mhm.
So it's in a gallery, and I let the gallerist know if there's anyone in this show that you like, feel free to show their work. So
Mm,
it's also these shows is to introduce new artists to these galleries that are looking for art.
that's awesome.
So like the next Cannibal Flower, there's 90 artists in the show
Excellent.
and all local artists
Yeah.
and people around that I feel like need the attention.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's like a small handful where this is going to be their very first show ever.
That's so cool.
And that what helps them to keep going.
Mhm.
Someone giving them that first show, whether they show it or not, someone believed in their work enough to show it.
Right.
And that helps you to keep going. So, I tell anybody, it's like, dude, if people are not showing your work, instead of getting upset with it, start a collective and start doing your own damn art shows.
Totally.
People will come.
Yep.
People will support it. Collectors will come because they want to discover stuff.
Yeah.
And they
That's where
want to
the cool stuff is, like the new stuff, the new shit. It comes from the underground.
exactly. But it's just like we're missing that underground scene again. I
Yep.
mean, only reason we stopped doing Cannibal Flower was because of that San Francisco fire that happened where like a lot
Oh
of artists
yeah.
died.
Wow.
The city started cracking down on all of the underground spaces.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Like some of those spaces, like, and you've been to these spaces, some of those spaces, dude, I spent like $800 to rent.
Wow.
And I would tell them, my deal with them was, I'm going to bring into your space at least 3 to 5 other people that's going to rent from you at the price that you want.
Right.
So you're going to give me low rent because you're going to help me help these artists.
Mhm.
And if I do get you clients that pay you your actual rate, you're going to keep renting to me at my low rate.
That's cool.
So I was kind of like, I'm going to help you expose your place.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, photography people and
Yep.
video, when people in the film industry is renting these places because it's like they discovered it through Cannibal Flower.
Mhm.
So I always explain to the spaces like, you're going to help me help these artists
That's
because
awesome.
it won't be worth it for me to do if you charge me 2,500 because usually the rental spot is like 25
Yeah.
plus.
Yep.
But I was always like, no, like I'm gonna pay you like 8, and I'm gonna bring you clientele, and I'm gonna make some money. You're gonna make some money. I'm gonna have money to pay the security, the staff, the band, the performance.
Hmm.
No one's going to come out of this rich, but we're all going to get the exposure we need to keep
Yeah.
making money. So that's how I always got low rent spots in LA. But after that San Francisco fire, they shut down all the underground places I used to go to.
Mm.
And then the other places started asking for permits, and then they wanted 25 plus.
Right.
Because I mean, I didn't do any permits back in the day.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean, I had a full bar, no permit. I was illegal. I was completely illegal. But I believe that we never got shut down because it was culture. It
Yeah.
was art. It's almost like going to a rave, but the lights were on.
Right. Yeah, and you never had anybody acting up at those shows that I remember, like being a drunk idiot or
No.
fucking shit up. It's like everyone was just cool. So there was no need for cops to come in or anything.
No, but I mean, you got to still think it was like, for the amount of people I would have at the shows,
Yeah.
you're supposed to hire a fire marshal to be there.
Right. Okay.
You're supposed to have you're supposed to let the city know if you're trying to gather, 900 people in a space,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my thing was like, I just didn't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is like, this is never going to happen if I have to jump through so many hoops.
Yeah.
And I always felt like, I was going to play the I didn't know card.
Yeah.
But
Play
there was
dumb.
one time that another story when I realized that it's really about the art and the culture and the respect was we was doing it in this old burlesque. We was doing a Cannibal Flower in this old burlesque hall, and the fire department and the fire marshal showed up to shut me down.
Wow.
And on stage, there was this girl that was doing a fire performance. She's like butt naked, and she had some sort of solvent or something that she could rub on herself, and it would burst into flames. So she would rub it on her breasts,
Mm-hmm.
and then it would just burst into a flame and smolder out.
Wow.
Then she would rub it on her vagina, and it would burst into flames and smolder out. And I remember the fire department people all just kind of went over to the stage to watch this girl do this naked fire performance. And they watched the whole thing. And then the guy came back over to me, and he looked around and he seen that it was art on the walls, the lights were on.
Mm-hmm.
There was lots of people just looking at art and looking at the performance. He was like, dude, just blow the candles out on the stage and you're fine.
Wow. Wow.
Even though I was running a legal bar, a whole illegal event. He just looked around and like you said, nothing was really going wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody was raging. I'm like, sure, we had the numbers and enough heads in there to look like it was a rave.
Mm-hmm.
We was playing jungle music and house music. We was playing that kind of music, but we had the lights on for the art.
Right.
So when you step into a Cannibal Flower, you look around, you are at a art event.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember even the fire department walking around looking at art and taking pictures of art and with art.
That's so
Because,
cool.
we used to show some wild stuff there too. So, I think that right there kind of gave me the confidence
Mm-hmm.
that I'm just not going to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just going to keep doing my thing and until I can't do it anymore. So once the San Francisco fires happened, that's when I couldn't do it anymore.
How long did it last? Like how long? What was what years did you do Cannibal Flower consistently between?
Well, I started it in 1999,
Mm-hmm.
and it went for 20 years.
Damn.
Was it 20? It was like almost 20 years.
It's crazy. All that time, no trouble with the fire
Nothing.
marshals and the cops.
No.
I'm telling you, you were blessed.
Oh.
There's some kind of energy protecting that whole scene from anything bad happening to it. To go for 20 years with something like that under the radar is pretty amazing.
Completely illegal for 20 years. Like, But I'm telling you, it's the art. There's something just really important about art. Like everything in our lives is art. Like
Yep.
down even to your microwave, it was designed by an artist.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think we need to just realize like how important art is in everyone's life. Even if
Especially
you're,
now.
oh
Especially
God,
now. It's never been more needed.
more needed. And and it's good because you're just seeing a lot of, artists taking their skills and they're going to the streets,
Mm-hmm.
and they're raging with their art.
Yep.
So the thing is, it's just like art is just important. I mean, just like, that's how you know what shoes to buy. Some designer designed an ad that
Yep.
made you attracted to
Yep.
this ad that made you attracted to those boots.
Yep.
It's just that art and culture is just so beautiful and amazing and necessary. And it's a part of our life, regardless if we are call ourselves art lovers or not.
Right.
You are an art lover regardless.
Yep.
You live in a house. Some architect, artist, designer designed this piece of art that you're
Yep.
in. So
Yeah.
my thing is just like, I believe the 20 years of doing this, I think it was just the art that kept it safe.
Hmm. Yeah.
To walk in the room and you just see all this effort.
Yeah.
Every painting is an effort. And then you walk in a room and there's like 150 paintings on the wall and people looking at art,
Yeah.
not just in the middle raging or
Right.
anything, but people looking at art.
Yeah.
And I think just art just is an amazing, wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes care of us, like, it takes care of our soul and it's therapeutic and it keeps us grounded and sane.
Mm-hmm. It's magic.
It's magic. And I think that magic is what protected Cannibal Flower.
Totally.
It's like artists needed a place to like
Yeah.
express themselves and get out there. The galleries have to pay bills. I
Yep.
mean, my gallery have to pay bills.
Yep.
And at one point, I had opened up a bar called Art Bar LA
Mm-hmm.
because my plan was to do Cannibal Flower shows where I could still show up and coming artists, but not have the pressure of getting them to sell art to pay bills. I
Right.
figured the bar would make the money to pay the bills and the art on the wall could still be pure and we
Mm-hmm.
could still give chances to up and coming artists.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, I realized the bar and the gallery is two different businesses,
Oh yeah.
and the
Yeah.
bar was just like way too much for me,
Really.
dealing with the city and,
Yeah.
all the different like I didn't know what it took to run a bar.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it takes to run a gallery.
Right.
But then after COVID, it just seemed like all the artists in my area just kind of moved away.
Yeah.
The kids was just looking for a place to rage. They didn't care about the art over here. So it was like it was just time for it to close.
Yeah.
So after that, I think that's when we decided that we need to just start talking to spaces again,
Mm-hmm.
and just start doing Cannibal Flowers and turning these galleries on to up and coming artists. So like the next show we have is at Gabba Gallery.
Okay.
Black Market on Sawtell. They have a gallery in the back. And she was one of the first people that gave me a shot at showing my art. And she also discovered Audrey Kawasaki. She gave Audrey Kawasaki her first two shows
Oh wow.
in a clothing store.
Wow.
And when Audrey's work was like $600, I
Right.
think my partner Andrew and Sean bought like 3 of them.
Whoa.
Like my first Audrey Kawasaki, I think what we spent like $75.
Are you
Yeah, our first
serious?
Audrey was like $75
Shh.
on a
That's
little piece of
insane.
craft wood from Michael's or something. And so Black Market on Sawtell, they was also like big believers in helping artist's work. So now at her store, she didn't built a whole gallery in the back.
Oh, cool. What's
So she
what kind of store is Black Market?
Black Market, it sells like it's a lifestyle store.
Oh,
So it has
okay.
like, you could buy clothes there, you could buy antiques there, you could buy toys there. She has like vintage Barbies and
Mm,
you know, yeah, she's been around for 30 years.
wow.
Yeah, and a lot of people just don't know about her. But like Luke, he showed at Black Market. Just
Wow.
and like she just did an Albert Ray show, and we went there and bought two pieces, and his work was accessible. His work was like $200. We bought two pieces.
Nice.
So she's still doing the same thing. So if you guys don't know about Black Market on Sawtell, it's right next door to Giant Robot.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so she asked us to curate a show there. So we're going to turn her on to new artists.
Excellent.
And then in the summer, there's a space called Lucky Cat Gallery in downtown LA, and they asked us to curate a show there. So
Cool.
we're going to go back to doing these large, like 90-person, 100-person group shows of nothing but local artists.
That's so cool.
Just so the galleries can know, can learn about new artists and to get that community going again, where artists are meeting each other and seeing each other work and communicating. I think that's what's important is the communication between artists.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like you're on a mission. It feels like you're on a mission. It's like you don't have to be doing this. You don't have to be doing these underground art shows. You didn't have to do Cannibal Flower.
No, but at the same time I did because it's like I wanted an outlet to show my own art, even, without all the political
Yeah,
nonsense.
yeah, but still, you could have done it smaller. You didn't have to go. I don't know. It feels to me like you're very uh I don't know, like you care about the art community, and that's
Oh,
a real big
very much.
reason you're doing it. It's not like this self-serving thing. It's like, you always with the Cannibal Flower shows, you were always just like super chill, laid back. You weren't out there like jumping up, "Hey, look at me." It was always about the art. And it
Yeah.
feels like you have this thing in you that really, I think is really admirable, that you really care about the art community and artists. And it's just so important that people, when they have a feeling like that, that they do something in their community. Because look at like I said, look at what Cannibal Flower did. It birthed all these amazing artists and galleries, and I feel like Cannibal Flower is kind of like a model of what people should be doing all over the country in small towns where they don't have an art scene, because there's a bunch of artists there, you just don't know about them.
Yeah, you just got to get together and do your own thing and just
Yep.
stop waiting around for someone to make you famous. It's
Yep.
like you still want to show your art and celebrate like your efforts.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, Cannibal Flower wasn't really like, again, it wasn't about getting rich. It was about celebrating our efforts. And you could show a canvas that you just did this month.
Yeah.
Like I just finished this piece. I want to show it. You can't walk into any
Yeah.
gallery and
Yeah.
go show my work. The Cannibal Flower, when I was doing it every month, people was painting for Cannibal Flower.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
Cannibal Flower's coming up. I need to make a new
Oh
piece.
yeah. I was painting for Cannibal Flower.
So,
I still got my taped up on my bedroom wall, my little thing that when I did the feature, when I was featuring Cannibal
oh,
Flower, I still have that thing.
dope, dope.
It's so awesome.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's completely, I just feel like you got to do something. Like,
Hmm.
and I think I never waited around on people. I never waited on
Yeah.
someone to do something. I was just always, and hip hop just kind of taught me to prove myself
Hmm.
and to, get my work out there and somehow just like, I guess, hustle. The hood
Hmm.
just taught me hustle. So
Yep.
my thing is like, hey, you're not going to show my work? I'm gonna show my work and all my friends'
Yeah.
work and
Right.
all my friends' work.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
you know what? So something is just like necessary. And also I enjoyed the community,
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, I guess it was kind of self-serving on me because it's like, I want to be around other people.
Yeah,
I want to be
yeah.
around other artists. So how do I do this
That's true.
without just walking up like,
Right.
let me into your circle?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna create something. People are gonna come to me. I'm gonna get to know them, and then I can ask questions
Right.
and show their work and learn from their work. And so it was also a way to kind of like take care of myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. But you've all it's so much of it was about giving back too. It's like it was very much like it wasn't like you're just doing it for yourself. It's like there's a whole feeling about Cannibal Flower that it was a gift to all of us from
Oh,
you. That's what it felt like to me. Like imagine if you never did Cannibal Flower. It's like
I don't think
things
I
would
can
be
imagine.
way different in LA in the art scene. I don't care if you say it could have there still would be these galleries. It would just be different. It would be way different. Think about all the people that maybe wouldn't have even got their start if it wasn't for Cannibal Flower.
Oh, wow.
Seriously.
Yeah. It's funny, a weird story. I remember I'm in New York. I'm walking down the street. I'm just talking to, it was just us, right? I was with Andrew. Anyway,
Hi,
I'm walking down.
Valentine, by the way.
Hi.
Valentine's awesome.
Yes.
Say hello.
Hi.
That's Valentine,
Yeah, so
everybody.
me and Andrew's walking down the street, and me and Andrew just talking, and it's these two artists sitting up on a wall, and I walk by, and this dude just go, LC? And I'm like, huh? He's like, dude, I knew your voice. He said, dude, you did so much for me. And the biggest piece of advice you gave me was to move. And I was like, move. He's like, I kept telling you how unhappy I was in LA as an artist.
Hmm.
And you told me if I moved, I would probably be a happier artist. He moved to New York and became a successful artist and was starting to show in galleries.
Wow.
And we had a chance to talk about how Cannibal Flower helped him to get that energy to just move out of LA to New York. And then everything happened for him.
Wow. That's so
And I
cool.
was just like, it's just that was just like one of those like super pleasing moments for me. And because I just feel like being an artist is hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So someone need to be there to give the advice. And
Hmm.
not just about art and technique, but it's about, you need to give them advice about capitalism and
Hmm.
about being happy about doing work and happy about themselves.
Hmm.
It's just like, I don't know. I just think that artists just need the support system of this art thing, this
Yeah.
galleries. It just needs a support system.
Yeah. Yeah. You were like a mentor to so many people. I don't know if you even realize what a big impact you and Cannibal Flower had. I feel like maybe you don't realize how big it was because it seems like there should be a documentary. There should be a documentary about Cannibal Flower. Seriously.
Oh wow.
Don't you? I mean, think about it. Think of all the what a cool, if there's any video footage, I'm sure there's video footage from way back in the day.
Yeah, I've seen some on YouTube.
It would be awesome to someone. I just wish I was rich because I would totally produce a Cannibal Flower documentary. You'd interview all the successful artists that came out of this small scene and all the stories. It would be so good. If anyone out there is inspired to produce this, I think it would be awesome, and everybody would donate to this. If you did a Kickstarter or something, everybody would support it.
Oh wow.
It would be.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, I hope it is documented just for the mere fact that, we did put a lot of effort into it and we're still not done. We're still,
Yeah, that's what's exciting.
you
That's
know,
exciting.
we still try to find ways to do it. And I'm just going to tell everybody that's listening, please come out to the Cannibal Flower shows. And if, you're an artist and you want to show with me, I am easy. I
Elsie's the
mean, I am
best. Just hit
so
him up.
easy.
Just
Hit
hit him
me
up.
up and I will put you in an upcoming show.
Yep.
So feel free to hit me up on Instagram. We're at This Is Cannibal Flower. I'm always down to look at work. I'm trying to find a way to start doing my free portfolio reviews
Mm,
again.
cool.
Yeah, because we used to do I used to
That's
do free
right. I forgot
portfolio.
about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, any artist can come in and just bring their work and ask me, questions about work and capitalism.
Yep.
How do I sell my work? How do I get into a gallery?
Mm-hmm.
And I would just give you those basic tidbits and be brutally honest about your work.
Yep. That's great. Wow. Well, man, I thank you so much. We're at the end here. I was so much fun talking to you. And
Oh, dude.
just in closing, I just want to say that it really changed my life. Cannibal
Oh,
Flower. It's like it was that was my dream. It's like to be an artist ever since I was a little kid, and I went into makeup effects because I fell in love with makeup effects and stuff, monster
mm,
sculpture. But it was also like a practical thing. Like I was like, oh, I
yeah.
could make a living at that. And then I did that for like 15 or 20 years or whatever. And I was like, oh man, this is not what it used to be. And then I kind of realized, you know what? I used to imagine myself as a painter when I was like in the first grade because I was always drawing. So, it was like 30, I was 33 when I decided I'm going to dump all this and become a fine artist. And it was like Cannibal Flower was where it started for me. So, I
Oh,
just so appreciate that you've changed a lot of people's lives. Like I said, I don't think you realize it.
yeah. I don't, I just do my thing.
Well,
I mean, this is all I know how to do.
that's even
And I
better.
just want to be there to help artists. I mean, it's just so hard for an artist. Like I can give you all the advice in the world
Yeah.
and it still will be hard, but at least giving artists that armor and that,
Mm-hmm.
and that understanding, putting things into perspective. At least they have an understanding of what they're part of.
Yep.
So my thing is like whatever information or whatever I've learned, I'm going to pass it on.
Yep.
What's the point of me just kind of sitting on it? So my
Yeah.
thing is just like, I'm just going to do my thing. That's all I've ever known how to do is just hustle, do my thing, and help artists. Because I want to see, I mean, it happened for me.
Mm-hmm.
I live my life paying my bills with art and music.
Yep.
So my thing is just like, I want every artist to be successful in the way, even if it's just not being rich, but being able to like live and pay your bills
Yeah.
from doing art.
Yep. If you're doing
So
that
my
as an
thing is
artist,
like,
you're doing all right.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, it's not always about selling something for 30 or $50,000. If you can consistently just sell your work and meet new people and sell to collectors and pay your bills, that's success in itself. And it's
Definitely.
happened for me, and
Yep.
I know it's possible for anyone else.
Yep. Absolutely.
I DJ, I make collages, I work at an art gallery.
Yep.
So my thing is just like anyone can do it. Just make sure that you're around other like-minded people, and try to create that crowd you want to be around, and you will all build each other up.
Yep.
And I think that's what Cannibal Flower is about. Like we all built each other up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every time you came or every time I went to a Cannibal Flower, we seen something new.
Yeah.
Like, who's this guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what's going on
Yeah.
here?
It was
Oh,
so
damn.
exciting.
It was always like discovery.
Yeah.
And it was accessible. You could meet that guy.
Yep. That was a magical time, man.
Yeah,
It
because I
re-
remember when people were just like, he did the album covers for Tool. I mean, we were all starstruck with you, like, just like, dude, what the fuck is he doing here? Like, he should be famous somewhere.
it was like, there was nowhere to show my work at that time. It was like the only place really. There wasn't any like
That you know what? That's ridiculous because you're so talented. And that's what I mean by like these galleries.
yeah,
It's like, give people a chance and they might
I
be
know.
successful.
Yeah. But you
You
were
know,
filling that gap there though. You were filling that role when
well,
other people
somebody
weren't.
got to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody, please, more people. I want to be part of art communities. I
Yeah.
want people to invite me to their stuff. But you know what? Again, I don't wait on people.
Right.
I
Yeah.
just do it, build a community, find a place to hang my own art. And, so it's self-serving and it serves people.
That's the best of both worlds as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
Yeah. Taking care of myself and taking care of others at the same time.
That's it. That's how you win. That's how you win at life.
Yes.
Well, thanks, man. Thank you so much for talking to me. So great. This is so
A long time coming.
I know.
Yeah, but thank you so much for having me on, and just getting me to relive those memories and think about it again.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get that documentary going. I'm telling you, it's gotta happen.
I think we're going to just start trying to post some pictures on Instagram because we have so many photos from Cannibal Flower.
Oh yeah, that would be great. I'm sure every artist
we're going to get back into that.
Yeah, every artist is going to start posting. We'll start posting their pictures from. I've got a ton of Cannibal Flower pictures.
Oh, dude, send me some, and I'll definitely start posting them.
I got to find them because I definitely have them from when I had my, for sure, when I had my featured show and stuff. But
please, do.
I just got to find them. They're somewhere in there.
Yeah, anybody out there that got Cannibal Flower pictures, hit us up on Instagram, and we're going to start trying to post these memories.
Awesome, cool. All right. Well, the final thing before we go, don't hang up when I stop the recording, but just tell the audience goodbye however you want to.
Well, everybody take care. Keep doing art. Take care of yourself. It's crazy times. And just remember, you always have art as therapy. It will always save your soul and it will ground you like nothing else. So keep at it. Even when you think people don't believe in it, you believe in it, and that's enough.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I will see you next time.